Welcome to the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast, the show where ambition is celebrated, not silenced. Lori, Ann, and Angie are your hosts, and each week we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about women doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their businesses. Here we don't shrink to fit expectations or apologize for our success. We share stories that are inspiring, hilarious, and always authentic, because becoming unstoppable isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and join our community of women who know that no is a complete sentence and there are no limits to what we can achieve together. And, it hurts my heart to see anybody, I don't care who you are, to be in that situation.
Yes.
When there's so much more on the other side.
Yes. And, it's easy to, years ago, I used to think, why don't you just leave? How can you stay, because I was raised with a strong mom. I was raised to be my own person. And then I started feeling really bad because I'm like, who am I to judge? I didn't go through their childhood. I don't know their situation. I don't know what, and the narcissists, these controlling people, whether it's a man or a woman, they have a way of manipulating, and drawing you in and sucking you in. And then all of a sudden you're in a situation and you don't know how to get out. And oftentimes your income is reliant on them. And so it's not, I feel bad. I feel guilty about judging, but at the time, I'm not going to apologize, because at the time, that's what I'm like, come on, be strong. And, I think I'm helping, and I'm actually making it worse. And, having that awareness now helps the empathy to shine versus the judgment. Yeah.
Well, to use Anne's word, there's a lot of brainwashing, and
Yes.
it's tough to unravel that and go back,
Yes.
to cleanse all of that out and start fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I was going through the grief of my two brothers dying, my first relationship outside of that was with a narcissist, because I was an easy target. And they're predators and they look for prey. And I had prey written all over me. I was struggling to make good decisions, just all the things, and got really, really, I guess he changed my personality. And I started noticing that as I started coming out of the grief a little bit, I noticed, and I started reading up on narcissists, and I got to the point I didn't want to know anymore. I had read so much, I understood him, but one of the things I had started to do is I started fighting back, and I'd started playing his own game against him. And that's not a good place to be, because they will make it their lives to win. Everything is about winning or losing, and they are not going to lose. And sometimes I won, and it felt really, really good. But what it takes to win, that didn't feel good. And so there was a lot of cognitive dissonance going on within me, that I believed one thing, but I was behaving totally differently because of how I was allowing myself to be treated. And so I remember sitting in front of my counselor one day going, I don't want to know any more about narcissists. I know enough. I know enough to be able to walk away. And I did. And I had to put on my phone Satan. So when he would call me, it would say Satan calling. And that's how, I had to put such a strong impression of who he was, that every time it would remind me, you're literally dealing with the spawn of Satan here. Don't answer your phone. I don't know why I didn't just block him, but I didn't. But the message of seeing that come up on my phone was probably stronger than blocking him. But it took a lot of courage. It took that strength I already had within me to come out. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't fast. I became somebody I didn't like being. And it took a lot of extra work. So already going through that grief, now I have to deal with everything this narcissist had told me about myself. And I finally, one of the ways I started fighting back is I would look at him and say, you say that about me, but here's what God says. Here's what God says about me. And so you're wrong. I'm going to believe God for you. And that was one of my biggest tools as I was coming out of it. What does God say about me? Because this guy's saying these horrible things. So the freedom to choose, one, the freedom to find the courage, and then
Yes.
the freedom to choose what to do with that courage and get out of that situation was one of the best things I ever did. But it is a rabbit hole that is super easy to get sucked into. I never want to go through it again. And I feel bad for anybody that's currently in that situation because it is, their job is to destroy you.
Thank you for sharing. And if you are open to answering this question, what was it that made, like, kind of sparked this person's a narcissist? And then for you to start reading up on it. Does that question even make sense?
So I was in counseling. So she's like, she had brought up, she's like, you might want to start doing some research on this. Because it was somebody she didn't know. So she wasn't going to diagnose somebody she didn't know. But she said, why don't you start seeing if some of this makes sense? And so the more I read and the more I relayed back, she's like, yeah, you're going to want to be careful here. And like just helping me avoid the landmines, not telling me how to live my life, but like sending me in a direction to get my own information. And then I could bring it back. And the more I brought back and was able to talk through, the more I was able to see what was going on.
Beautiful.
But if I hadn't had professional help at the time, I don't know that I would have gotten to that place.
That's a good statement for everyone out there who, yes, a freedom to choose to get professional counseling, to get professional help. I know I've been there a couple times going through a divorce and a breakup, and it is so helpful. It is so helpful just to get an independent view of what's going on. So thank you for sharing that, Anne.
Yes.
I hope it helps somebody. I'm always grateful when I'm on the other side, and I never want anybody to think, oh, well, she's bragging because I never am. I'm just sharing that it is possible to be on the other side of it and to look back and go, holy crap, I never want to go through that again. But man, did I learn a lot.
Yeah, there's hope. There's a lot of hope in that message. And yes, I mean, I've been in counseling multiple times throughout my life. I'm currently in counseling now. And to me, that talk about standing in your power. That's one of the most powerful things you can do, is to recognize like, hey, there's something going on. I need some help. And it's part of self-care. And as I think about the freedoms we have and the choices that we make and how many times we put self-care on our calendar, but yet it's the first appointment that we cancel, right? Yes. And so, but it's so, and Lori, you're the queen of this. I mean, this is the expertise that you sit in. And it's just one of those, it should be non-negotiable. And I shared with the ladies, like, when we're done recording here, I'm going to go jump in my pool for an hour and just like decompress before my next meeting. And, and just because that's part of my self-care, that's part of what I need to re-energize and rejuvenate and refresh and just clear my mind and all of those things. And I'm not going to let anything cancel other than lightning. I'm not going to let anything cancel. And the skies are sunny and blue, so there's no lightning. But
yes,
so I mean, listeners, really, I would just so encourage you to don't cancel that appointment. It is just, it's so critical. And Lori, I'm going to flip it over to you because this is your expertise with that.
Well, and even with this being my expertise, my passion is such that, I want to help so many, I want to serve so many, I want to educate so many people on this that I end up not doing my own self-care. And so yesterday was one of those days, I don't know why. I turned off my alarm and I slept in until 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Oh my God. That's like crazy. That is crazy. And so I'm like in a panic all day. I got to get this done. I got to get this done. And I think I must have sat for like 3 hours straight in the afternoon. And I tried to stand up. Well, I did stand up. And I'm like, holy crap, my butt is killing me. So I went out, I had dinner, then I went out and I took a walk and I came back because I felt so refreshed after that walk. I came back and I just recorded a short little video saying, save your butt. Get up out of your chair every 25 minutes or so. Because it really, we get into this mode of, okay, I got to do this. It's the I gotta. And well, this will just take me another second. This will just take me another second. Before you know it, 3 hours have gone by and haven't gotten out of your chair. That's not healthy for you or for anybody around you, because let me tell you, ladies, when we are angry about something, we're not always quiet about it. At least I know I'm not. And poor Dave, it's just, the look. Okay, the look means don't even ask me a question right now. So there is something to be said about happy wife, happy life. But at the same time, guys have to own up to, take care of their own happiness and all that. We're not responsible for the happiness, but we can definitely have that energy that makes it a little more difficult for them. So take care of yourself. And you can just little things throughout the day. Take a walk. Find a website that has your favorite jokes. Laughter is such a great stress release. And who doesn't want to laugh?
Right.
So, laugh. There's just so many things. I'm writing a book, and I've got one chapter dedicated to that, and I'm still adding to just little things you can do throughout your day to manage your stress, to just step away from it and get clarity.
Yes. So, Lori, I'm going to tell you a little secret about me, and I can totally see you doing this. So, I am actually a level 1 laughter yoga certified instructor.
Are you? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was scheduled to go to the class to get certified for that because I am a certified yoga instructor, but we had a snowstorm and I couldn't make it. And they didn't have another one. So I need to look into that. So you're a certified yoga.
Yeah, just level 1. I mean, I'm a baby. I'm just, but yes. And there's someone locally, she's like master's level laughter yoga instructor. So we've done some events together and just had a lot of fun with that. But I could totally see you holding those types of
Nice.
events.
Yes. I love it. All right, you inspired me. I'm going to have to start looking for if anybody's doing laughter yoga teacher training around here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. If today's conversation fired you up, inspired you, or made you laugh out loud, don't forget to hit subscribe and share this episode with another unstoppable woman in your life. Remember, you don't have to apologize for your ambition, and you never have to shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Keep showing up, keep breaking barriers, and keep living life on your own terms. Until next time, stay unapologetic, stay unstoppable.